When the internet began, bulletin board services, or BBS, became the first online communities of the so-called information superhighway. Using their phone lines, people logged in from all over America to talk about sports, games, movies, and on one BBS in particular, share their ghost stories. Over time, those communities all went dark, except for one lone server that continues to operate somewhere in an unknown part of Pennsylvania's Rust Belt. A relic of the 1990s, veiled in mystery, it is a digital archive of humanity's strangest encounters with the unknown, as told by the people who experienced them. My name is Brandon Schexnayder, and you are listening to Fear Daily.
Subject, Snow Globe. User, Trapped SOS. Posted, January 9th, 1996.
I work nights alone, fill the coffee pots, mop the floor, stare out the window waiting for headlights that never come. Graveyard shift'll rot your brain if you don't find something to focus on. Mine found a snow globe. Picked it up last Sunday down at the VFW flea market. The kind of place that smells like boiled hot dogs and old perfume. $1 a piece. Inside this one was a little street, a corner shop, and a kid on the sidewalk wearing a red puffy jacket. There was even a payphone on the curb, all tiny and gray. It wasn't yellowed like the rest, clear as drinking water. I liked it. Brought it in to brighten the counter. First night, nothing special. A couple regulars shook it while they signed scratchers. One trucker said it looked like this place. The same roof line, the same sag in the middle. I didn't think much about it. Next night, I was alone again, counting till receipts when I noticed something different. The tiny shop inside the globe had a new sign, Wayne's Fuel and Food. Same as ours. The letters even leaned the same way, like somebody painted them drunk. I held it close, trying to figure if I'd missed that detail before, but then I saw the kid had moved. Just a little. His arm was raised, hand halfway up like he was waving. I didn't sleep much that day. Monday, the payphone outside started ringing. 1:13 in the morning, clear as a bell. Nobody ever calls that phone. Not in winter. I watched it through the glass, ringing and finally stopped. The kind of silence after that makes your ears buzz. Tuesday, I wiped the globe clean, and the glass fogged again from the inside. Like breath. When it cleared, the kid had moved closer to the shop's window. His face pressed against the glass like he was looking out. That night, the payphone rang again. 1:13. The radio cut out when it did, too. The static rolled for a few seconds, then faded back into Tom Petty. Always Petty. By Wednesday, starting to lose it a little. I drew a big L on the whiteboard behind me just to see if anything copied it. When I looked back in the globe, there was a tiny streak of cleared frost across the store window. Same spot, same shape, like it was trying to match me. The snow inside didn't fall anymore, it just hung there. The kid stood by the window, tiny hand pressed to the glass, eyes no bigger than a pinhead, but looking right at me. I pressed my thumb against the globe and felt this faint buzz, like touching an old TV screen. And then the phone rang again. I grabbed my jacket and went out. Wind cut through me like razor wire. The booth light was sickly yellow, the kind that makes you look dead in the reflection. I picked up the receiver and it was warm, like somebody had just been holding it. "Hello?" I said. At first, there was just breathing. Then, a small clap sound, like a kid figuring out how phones work. "Buddy, you okay?" A whisper, soft and distant. "Stuck." I turned back toward the store. Through the window, I could see the counter light, the snow globe sitting right where I'd left it, and inside that tiny world, the kid had both hands pressed to the glass like he was trying to push through. "What's your name?" I asked. There was a long pause. Then, "Don't know." Static popped through the line. The glass in the booth fogged at kid height, little smudges like fingerprints. I wiped them off, but they came right back. One finger streaked down, shaped like an L. Then, the line went dead. Back inside, the globe was cold as ice, and inside, that same L was smeared across the window. Now, I don't scare easy, but my hands were shaking bad enough, I dropped my cigarette on the floor. I sat there staring till 3 a.m., too afraid to look away. And that's when I noticed something new. There was another figure in the shop now, behind the kid. Just a shadow, hard to make out, but I recognized the way it leaned. One shoulder lower than the other, like mine. The payphone rang again. I didn't move, just watched as the tiny version of me inside the snow globe turned toward the sound. The snow inside started to fall again, slow and heavy, swirling around us both. Thursday, I brought my old Polaroid to prove I wasn't crazy. Snapped a photo of the globe, came out blank, just gray fog. Took another of the counter, perfectly clear. I shook the first one anyway, but nothing ever developed. By midnight, the snow outside stopped and the air turned still. The tavern drunks were gone, the road empty. I turned the radio up for noise, but the dial kept slipping. Every time I found a station, it slid off again. The world felt crooked, like the whole building was leaning an inch to the left, and then, right on schedule, 1:13, the payphone rang. 8 times. I picked it up, but this time it wasn't breath I heard. It was tapping, slow, steady, fingertips on glass. "Come here," the voice said. "Where?" "Inside." The tapping got faster, sharper, until it felt like it was coming from inside my head. I looked through the store window, and the snow globe was glowing faint blue under the fluorescence, snow frozen in midair. And there, clear as day, was a reflection of me standing beside the counter inside that tiny world. Same jacket, same lean. I dropped the phone and ran back in. The air inside felt wrong, thick, heavy, like standing too close to a furnace. The snow globe's water was boiling, bubbles rolling slow as syrup. The kid inside had vanished. I reached for it anyway. My thumb touched the glass, and the buzzing came back harder this time, up my arm, into my jaw, right behind my eyes. Everything flashed white. When I opened them, the store looked the same, but not. The air was gray, the lights dim. Outside, snow fell heavy, endless, spinning in a perfect circle. The counters there, the coffee pots, even the open sign, but the parking lot's gone. Just white stretching forever, and across the street, and another little world all on its own. I can see a man out there by the payphone. He's picking up the receiver, looking around like he's lost.
Subject, the Hitcher. User, Thorn by my side. Posted, May 17th, 1998.
I saw him just past Birmingham, walking along the shoulder of I-20 with a busted duffel bag and a denim jacket too light for the cold. He didn't even stick his thumb out, just looked up at me as I passed and nodded like he already knew I'd stop. And I did. Don't know why. Maybe it was the way he looked at me, or maybe I just needed company. I'd been running a straight shot from Dallas to Savannah, and the monotony was eating me alive. He climbed in without a word. Tall, pale, maybe 40, with eyes so light they looked washed out. I asked where he was headed, and he said east. I asked how far, and he said, till it ends. I laughed, but he didn't. We rode in silence. He didn't sleep, didn't eat, didn't piss. I offered him a thermos of coffee at one point. He took it, unscrewed the lid, held it under his nose, and handed it back without drinking. He kept his eyes on the road. Not the traffic, not the signs, just the lines themselves, like he was reading them. I tried to spark conversation once or twice, but he gave practically nothing back. Said his name was Thorn, just Thorn. Said he used to drive too, long hauls, back before things went sideways. I asked what he meant. He didn't answer. That night, we pulled into a diner off the highway near Augusta. The kind with yellow booths and a jukebox that only plays sad country. I told him I was grabbing food, and he said it'd wait in the truck. When I came back out, he was gone. Doors still shut, keys still in the ignition, but no Thorn. I checked the lot, the bathroom, asked the waitress. Nothing. I figured he bailed. Weird, but not the weirdest thing I'd seen on the road. Next morning, I hit the road solo. Around 10 a.m., I checked my mirror and nearly ran off the shoulder. He was in the passenger seat, just sitting there like he never left. I damn near pissed myself, slammed the brakes, pulled over, jumped out. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely open the door on his side, but it was empty, clean, like no one had sat there in days. I didn't sleep that night, just parked in a well-lit gas station lot and locked every door. The next morning, there was mud on the passenger side floor mat, and something was carved into the dashboard, a single word, East. Well, I thought I was losing it, told myself it was exhaustion, stress. I'd been running hard for weeks, no breaks, nothing but caffeine and static-filled AM radio to keep me company. I promised myself I'd take a break once this drop was done, just a few more days, but every day after that, he showed up. Not always in the seat, mind you, sometimes in the mirror. Sometimes walking past the truck when I was parked. Once, I saw him standing on the side of the road, watching as I passed. Then I checked my rear view and saw him standing on the opposite shoulder just behind me. I called my dispatcher, asked if anyone had ever heard of a driver named Thorn, and he checked the books. Nothing. No record. No one by that name had ever been in our system. The next night, I dreamed I was driving. Couldn't see where. The sky was black, no stars, just headlights on endless asphalt. Thorne sat beside me, smiling now, mouth too wide, eyes too bright. He said, "Almost there." When I woke up, I was parked on an off-ramp I didn't remember exiting to. The cab smelled like wet leaves and burned plastic. My knuckles were bruised like I'd punched something in my sleep. I tried quitting the route, turned around near Charleston, told the company I was sick, needed a reset. They were fine with it. Told me to head back to Dallas, no pressure, but every time I tried to take an off-ramp or exit west, I'd get turned around. GPS would glitch, roads would close. One time I ended up back on the same damn stretch I thought I'd left an hour earlier, and that's when I stopped fighting it. I started driving east again. Felt like the only direction that made sense, like the only road that still existed. Somewhere near the coast, I stopped at a rest area to breathe. Old one, graffiti on the benches, vending machines half empty. I sat there drinking bad coffee, watching a stray cat crawl under a bench. That's when I noticed the map on the wall. The "You are here" dot had been scratched out, just a gouge in the laminate where it used to be. And Thorne was leaning against my truck when I came back. Said, "You ready? Like we've been on this trip together the whole time." I asked him, "Ready for what?" He said, "The end." I got in the cab and he didn't follow, just stood there, watching. I drove. Now, I don't know where I am. Haven't seen a town in days. Fuel's still full. Radio's static. Sky's a dull gray no matter the hour. Every road sign just says east, and Thorne's always close. Sometimes he's walking just ahead of my high beams. Sometimes he's sitting in the seat beside me, quiet and smiling. I don't sleep, don't eat, don't piss. I just drive.
Fear Daily is an independent podcast hosted by Brandon Schexnayder and written by Brennan Storr, with Joanna Smith serving as the consulting editor, audio production by Rachel Boyd, and sound design by Southern Gothic Media. This podcast is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places, and incidents are either products of the author's imagination or are used fictitiously. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or to real events or locations, is entirely coincidental. Ad-free versions of Fear Daily are available now on your favorite podcast apps. For more information, visit feardaily.com. But move fast, before the server goes offline.